February 2022 brought these scenes: Russian armour and tens of thousands of troops massing on the border. Exercises, said Moscow, and many in the West were adamant Russia wouldn't invade. There couldn't be a land war in Europe in 2022, could there? February the 24th, Russia invaded from the north, east and south. Some thought it would be over in days, as Russia made quick gains. The UN reported that during the invasion's first week, 1 million civilians fled. But as the map shows, those initial gains, particularly in the push to capital Kyiv, quickly stalled, and by April, Russian forces drew back from the Ukrainian capital. Their armour littered Ukraine's highways. Why? Better than expected Ukrainian resistance, for sure, but also a complete failure of the Russian military logistics chain. Columns of vehicles were running out of fuel even just tens of miles inside Ukraine. Just 3 weeks after the first tanks rolled, NATO defence ministers pledged support in the form of military hardware. Britain, for example, sent Starstreak, a short-range laser-guided air defence system designed to down aircraft up to 4.3 miles away. Just one of a raft of vital military tools, like NLAW, a shoulder-mounted anti-tank weapon, effective from 20 to 800 metres. Britain sent 5,000 to Ukraine. Brimstone missiles, Martlet missiles, they were also sent, and videos released by Ukraine's defenders seemed to show their effectiveness. 120 Mastiff armoured vehicles went, as did drones and Javelin anti-tank missiles. Add in basics like body armour and helmets, a whole spectrum of support was forthcoming quickly. And in a year, the US spent more than $27 billion on military aid to Ukraine, substantially more than any other nation. And Ukraine's defenders needed it as 2022 progressed. A Russian counterattack centered around Luhansk and Donetsk saw them consolidate their gains. They captured Mariupol after a devastating last stand by defenders at the Azovstal steelworks. And that continued through June and July, but momentum appeared to be shifting once more. The craggy, virtually uninhabited but strategically important Snake Island was taken by Russia right at the start of the war. The Ukrainian defenders cursing the invaders, pictures which went around the world. But on the 30th of June 2022, Ukraine was able to recapture the outpost, massively symbolic. Also, the ship used in the initial capture, Russia's Black Sea flagship, the Moskva, had by now been sunk. Ukraine launched counter-offensives in August and September, the one in the northeast leading to the majority recapture of Kharkiv. And by November, the offensive in the south had managed to retake Kherson after successfully encircling the Russian forces within the city. Let's visit presidential pariah Putin in Moscow. His multi-pronged invasion showed he or his generals thought victory would come quickly and quite easily. Hundreds of thousands of dead troops, conscription brought in to swell the ranks, showed it wasn't and didn't. Yet Russia still fights on. As December 2022 became January 2023, Ukraine launched more counterattacks, each village or town they recaptured showing the scars of conflict. Bucha, a small city of 37,000 people near Kyiv. It was taken back from the Russians at the end of March 2022. There was evidence of the mass killing of civilians by the Russian occupiers. NATO countries and others continued to supply Ukraine with weapons, and they became increasingly potent. German-made Leopard tanks, the UK sending 14 Challenger 2 tanks, and it's looking more than possible that Western fighter jets might soon join them. The UK spent £2.3 billion on military assistance to Ukraine in 2022 and has pledged to spend the same in 2023. It also aims to train 10,000 new and existing Ukrainian military personnel in 120 days. As our map comes full circle, the fighting is entrenched in the east of Ukraine. The second year begins with little sign of it being the conflict's final 12 months. Tim Cooper, Forces News. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.